Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us for Comics from the Future, and happy New Year's Eve, happy 2022. We're so excited to have you with us today and checking out all the cool upcoming stuff. It has been a couple of weeks since there's been a good, healthy previews show, and it is finally here. We've got a lot of great stuff to show you.
It's been a couple weeks since you've been here.
It's been a couple weeks since I've been here, but I'm back. In case you don't know, my name is Megan.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Jason. We're with Infinity Flux Comics out of the lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee area.
And if you have not watched the show before, basically we're going to show you the comics that are coming out in approximately a month from now. And this is just some cool covers, new ongoing series, mini-series, and some stuff that we don't want you to miss. If you put in your orders by this Sunday or Monday, whatever your shop has in store for you, Sunday for DC is the due date, then you are pretty much guaranteed to get whatever you ask for. So that's what we're going to do.
All right, let's launch into it. So we're going to begin the show with featured comics. This is usually issue number ones or special issues. So let's begin
with Savage Spider-Man. That is one wicked looking Spider-Man on there. So this is a new 5-issue miniseries from Joe Kelly and Gerardo Sandoval. And in this one, it actually is interesting. So Nonstop Spider-Man, I didn't know, actually got canceled during its hiatus. This is
guessed?
kind of replacing that. So it's a different artist than that, but it kind of continues a little bit of that story, but it still sounds really new, reader-friendly. When an experiment on Peter Parker goes horribly wrong, and he is transformed into the Savage Spider-Man, it says, take everything that made Peter Parker lovable and his morals, everything that made him a hero, toss that out the window, because now the city is his jungle and he is on the hunt. He's also being hunted by Baron Zemo, but it clearly looks like he's gonna get more than he bargained for with this new version of Spider-Man. So it's really cool. There's been the Man Spider before and everything in older Spider-Man books, but it's always cool when they bring back the more spider than man concept. So yeah, 5-issue series. This is our A cover. We have our super cool Sandoval cover. You could almost say it's an homage, but when it's also Spider-Man again, it's hard to say it's a super homage. But
it looks like they're giving him those extra like spider teeth,
the mandibles.
Mandibles, yeah.
Then we have the, of course, Ron Lim cover. We have the Bagley cover.
That's cool, because typically it's somebody good looking into a reflection that's evil, but with this, it's the opposite.
It's also cool, this version, as you can see in this Scotty Young cover, or in that one, used to he had like 2 legs and then like a couple of arms. This one, like, he's gone even more spider with all the legs.
That's true.
So we've got the Scotty Young cover. Then we have the LUBERA. And finally, we have the PEREZ cover. Doesn't look too... can you imagine the momentum he builds up while swinging that? His thorax is a wrecking ball.
It makes me feel really weird and uncomfortable.
I know, this is too close to a spider.
I don't like spiders. Alright, this one looks super cool. This is from Behemoth Comics. This is called Until My Knuckles Bleed. This is written and drawn by Victor Santos, who you may remember from... He is the creator of... and it became a Netflix movie, a really big movie, Polar. So based on his original graphic novel. So this is a new one from Behemoth, Until My Knuckles Bleed. It is basically in the style of The Boys, Watchmen, Sin City, which I can really tell in some of these covers, about Gavin Hart, who is our character on the cover here. He is a former superhero turned strip club bouncer. So in the first few pages of this, I checked out a preview. He's reminiscing about the 90s, about the good old days of superheroes, and he still meets up with some of his superhero buddies, love interests, but the world no longer needs them. They want something shiny and new, not super gritty like he is. Also, you can kind of see a little bit what's happening in the second half. He's suffering from the long-term effects, negative effects of his cyber implants. So... actually, like I said, I read the first few preview pages. This seems really neat. It's well written so far from what I've seen. And even though he's reminiscing, it says fate has one more gun in the chamber for all these superheroes. So I think they're going to have to come back and deal with some new fate. But yeah, it seems really cool. I'm excited for this. So let's see. The 90s are back again.
Good.
We say that
Let's
a lot.
keep it that way.
Who wouldn't be reminiscing about the 90s? All right, so all these covers are by Santos himself, so I'm just going to call them A, B, C, and D. So this is our A cover. This is the cover B.
Very Frank Miller with that negative.
And this too,
Yeah.
cover C. And cover D, I believe there's even one more if you want to go check it out on Previews World or wherever, but these are all by the artist himself, so really cool. I think this will be a good one.
It's a strong title, and the character looks like a character from something with that title.
Yes.
So like a big Ben Grimm Bruiser
Yeah.
type
Totally.
character. Okay, so the next one is a one-shot from DC called Superman and Robin. You don't really ever hear them put
No.
together in that way, you know, Batman and Robin. But this time Superman and Robin, which makes complete sense because this is told, of course, in the time period where Jonathan Kent has grown up and he's become Superman. Superman is gone. Jonathan Kent's trying to deal with all that, but it says that someone from his past is back. A threat from Jonathan Kent's past is back, and because of that, he has to team up with Damian Wayne, his old buddy from the Super Sons. But they're not Super Sons anymore. They're grown up or barely grown ups or whatever you call them at whatever age they are now. So instead, it is Jonathan Kent Superman and Damian Wayne Robin. So I'm surprised this is just a one-shot. I feel like they could have done at least a mini-series on this. But maybe they're testing the waters. So that's what this is all about. Here's our regular cover. And then here is the variant by Jorge Jimenez. Yes, this is the Jimenez variant.
Next up is I think a pretty big one for the X-Men line. This is Sabretooth #1. So I believe this is going to be a mini-series. But Sabretooth was kind of the first, I don't want to say victim, but when the Krakoa became the island of the mutants and they wanted to establish their own rule there, he was kind of the first one who was put on trial, and we found out the punishment was to be kind of sucked into the earth of Krakoa forever, I guess, until you die in the bowels of Krakoa. Well, Sabretooth is back, and what did he learn while he was down there? What deal did he make? And was he alone down there? Usually when they tease, was he alone, it means he was not alone. that's a very common you know, it'd be funny if he was like, no, it's just me. But this is bound to shake up everything about Krakoa because apparently he's coming out with a lot of secrets that he learned while he was there that's going to really mess up everything for the higher-ups on Krakoa and now Mars. So, really cool. This is our A cover for Sabretooth #1. And then we also have the brown variant as well.
If he weren't so big and threatening, he looks so fluffy up top.
Yeah, you just want to...
That's where he keeps all his softness right there.
All right, so this may look familiar. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but we have some new covers to show you. This is the Geiger 80-page giant. This was actually solicited back all the way back in early November, but we have some variants, so be careful with how you order this. You may already have an order with your store or whatever. Anyway, this is the Geiger 80-page giant. It is going to have several different tales featuring different origins and just stuff from the Geiger-verse. You will also get to know the origin of Barney, the two-headed dog. And it's got lots of different writers and artists, lots of talent on this image book. So, once again, we already talked about this on a show in the past, but if you missed out, let your store know. But we have some other covers to show you as well, which were not available before. So let's check them out. This is the cover B from Hitch.
These are kind of the first appearances of a lot of these characters.
Right,
That were teased, in previous issues. So then we have the Pelletier featuring Barney. And then the Levens variant, cover D. So check them out. Place your orders accordingly.
Yeah, so anyone who already placed orders with us, we have your order still. It's just they were, at the time, they didn't have these covers available, and now they brought it back and are allowing us to adjust order.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. There's going to be another one we show later with that very same thing where you'll have seen it before, but it didn't have all its covers. So next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 88. So why are we featuring this? Look at the cover. It's a goblin, but that's not a goblin we've seen before. This is the Goblin Queen. She's going to be a new villain for Ben Reilly. So I can't tell you for sure this is her first appearance. You know how a lot of times they like to do the cameo at
Yeah.
least in the previous issue. So it might be the issue 87 is the cameo, maybe even full first. But as far as we know, this is the first
Yeah.
appearance, issue 88. At the very least, it's a really awesome cover. So, heroes are often defined not just by what they do, but by their villains. And Spider-Man has always been partly defined by having goblins as villains, as major villains.
The natural predator to spiders,
Yeah.
goblins,
Exactly.
in the wild.
Yeah, to mutated spiders. So, anyhow, so here is the A cover of Amazing Spider-Man 88, possibly first Goblin Queen. And then we have, here is the Mana X Gwen variant.
So we're getting ready for the Gwenverse series that will be coming out. We'll be talking about in a few weeks, but we're getting all these cool Gwen Stacy as other characters.
Yeah.
Next up is another one that's like, hey, this isn't a number one. This isn't even the beginning of a story, but this is Detective Comics 1050. So whenever comics hit those landmark numbers, the 50s, the 25s, the 100s, all the denominations of money, they like to do oversized issues. And this one is cool because this is Detective Comics 1050. It's going to be 48 pages. It's only $5.99. It's only about $1 more than the regular issue of Detective Comics. This is the final part in the first arc of the Arkham Tower story. So it's kind of going to be broken up into little mini story arcs. This is the end of the first one, where we're actually going to find out what is the force that is keeping the patients sedated in Arkham Tower. And it teases that it is the return of a villain that we either haven't seen in a long time or that's going to be very surprising. So seems like a pretty cool premise for this one. The other big thing why this is 48 pages, it actually contains a backup story by Mark Waid and Dan Mora that is going to lead into their World's Finest comic, which is very exciting, having Mark Waid return to DC, after he did stuff like Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
He had some really big titles at DC before, so great to see him back. And this looks to be a really cool issue of Detective Comics.
If this new upcoming World's Finest is anywhere as good as the covers they've been releasing for it, so yeah,
it's like it's cool. It's got a fun sense of humor.
Yeah.
So this is our A cover. Then we have, of course, the Bermejo variant. I like when he does the new with the kind of classic in the background. And then next, all these next ones are actually by Molina, and they're all connecting. So starting off, we have, I guess, the they kind of title them, I think, by like the who's in it. So there's like the parents or the whatever. We've got that one.
Yes, the Thomas and Martha Wayne variant.
Then we have, I guess, the Alfred and Commissioner Gordon variant.
Yep.
Alfred's looking like John Waters to me. In this. Not a diss.
And then we have what was this one called? It's like the
Batman, Robin, Batgirl. So
yeah. So you
can.
So when you're placing your orders, just name whatever characters are on them, and that will be how they.
They also called them the C, the D, and this is the
Yeah.
E. So that's another way to think of it.
And then we have the Joker one with his big old mouth.
That flip top head. Wow.
Imagine a Pez popping out of there or something.
Some Pez gas killing you.
All right, next up we have from Marvel, The Excellent. This is the original X-Statix creative team returns. This is Mike Allred and Peter Milligan, who are taking the classic heroes and a new team of rivals. So in case you don't know, X-Statix is a team of mutant celebrities. They're fighting for a better world, and they're more fighting for the spotlight. This is, even though these are not the most popular characters and not the most popular series amongst readers, it does receive a lot of really good critical acclaim. I thought it was funny. I think IGN called the X-Statix team, they were named one of the 5 properties that even after Guardians of the Galaxy are still too weird for the big screen. So if you like a deconstructed, unpredictable series full of deaths, full of just all sorts of randomness and unpredictability, this is one for you. We have a few different covers. This is our A cover. And then we have the Manahini variant. And then a Scotty Young variant.
Yeah. With Dupe, I always remember in the X-Men encyclopedia I have, it had like the power levels, and Dupe's everything was at the furthest it could go. He is the most powerful mutant, and he's just adorable.
Oh, yes, he is.
All right, from Image, they're doing a one-shot called The Official Image Timeline. This is by Jim Valentino. Now, Jim Valentino, he's been with Image Comics from day one. He is one of the original people. He went over from Marvel. He was doing Guardians of the Galaxy back then, and he started doing Shadowhawk. So he is considered, he still does work at Image, of course, in his own comics, but he's also considered sort of their archivist of their history. So this one shot is going to be 64 pages. It is going to be prestige bound, and it is $7.99. There's going to be the company's history in this. There's going to be behind-the-scenes photos, unseen comic covers, and just a lot of behind-the-scenes information. So I think pretty interesting. I think this is coming out at just the right time because, like Megan said, the 90s are back. That's because all us 90s kids are now adults with 90s kids still in us. And I mean, I was so fascinated when Image Comics started. Right away my comic subscription switched over to them, and I bought the number ones. And I'm really interested to see this timeline because I definitely fell off there while I was in college, and but they never went away. They're just as big as ever.
Yeah, I think they're also celebrating 30 years,
30th anniversary of Image. So I'm really happy that, because for a while it seemed like they were going to revolutionize comics. Then it was like, uh-oh, is this just going to cave in? But they have stood the test of time, and they've created some of the greatest comics out there. So
next up is Fantastic Four Reckoning War Alpha #1. So this is kind of one of your classic Alpha issues. After this, the main Reckoning War story is going to go on into the main Fantastic Four series. But what is Reckoning War? Well, it says it's 15 years in the making. But before the Kree, before the Skrull, before Galactus, before Asgard, there was a great war, the greatest of wars that happened, kind of that prehistory. And something is happening that is going to reignite that war. And the Fantastic Four, She-Hulk, Jack of Hearts, The Unseen, and Silver Surfer, plus everyone else in the Marvel Universe is going to team up to try and stop this war from happening. So it's kind of the next big event in Marvel. I saw some preview pages, really, really cool stuff with the Watcher and everything. So this is by Dan Slott, the current writer of Fantastic Four. And like I said, this will be continuing on in the pages of Fantastic Four. This is our A cover. And then we have the Caselli variant.
So this is going to be some of the first stuff that they talked about and showed in the Timeless #1 one-shot that just came out last week, which I highly recommended on our review show, and I highly recommend it today too, because I heard you mention Jack of Hearts.
Yeah.
And there's a little hint as to that in Timeless. So that's pretty cool. They're already getting into the stuff they've predicted this year.
I'm wondering if we're also going to see some maybe first appearances of some like pre-universe god type things, or kind of early Celestials and everything. That's kind of what they were teasing in some of the solicitations.
So the next part of our show is other #1s. There's always so many #1s out each week. These are just the ones that we didn't feature, but they are still noteworthy. Now the first one that Megan's going to go over, like before, we already had it on the show a few weeks back, but it didn't have all the covers. So if you've already ordered this from us or whoever you order from, just remember not to double order. But there are more covers for it. We think it's pretty important. So without
Always good to
further
double check. Yeah.
ado,
Well, you took away everything I was going to say, so we got some new covers. Yeah, we did not have these before to show you, so this is the fairy variant.
For Star Wars Halcyon Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, give everyone a catch up on what this is about.
Yeah,
this one's
I wasn't
potentially
here
pretty
when we
important.
went over this before. I was on vacay. So this is actually a tie-in with the Disney hotel
Mm-hmm.
that is based off of a ship in Star Wars called the Halcyon Legacy. So this is going to kind of give you an in-world history, some backstory about what it is, what it's seen. They did this before with the Batu story. It was like Tales from Galaxy's Edge series. They kind of like to tie these in. So if you're wondering about that new hotel that probably a lot of us will not be able to see for many years, it's going to be booked out through the next 30 years. You can get a little taste of it in this. So it should be really cool. Looks like it's going to have a lot of stuff from all the way back from the High Republic era, all the way through till modern. It's just one of those classic ships that keeps on ticking.
That's what I was going to say, because the Halcyon escaped the Nile. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this even takes in a lot of the High Republic stuff. So, but these variants weren't available before. So, whose variant is this?
This is the fairy variant, and then we have the slimy connecting cover. And then we have the Wingard variant as well. So now that they're up and available, confirm your order, maybe add to it, because these are now up.
I'm wondering almost maybe if each issue might jump in time a little bit. Like this is going to be the High Republic one, maybe the next one will be the end of the High Republic, the kind of prequel era. We'll have to see.
I know it's talking about how somehow the ship was able to get away from the Nile,
Mhm.
and they're trying to figure out how did they do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so Usagi Yojimbo has a new series of reprints that's starting. That's some of what the show is for, is to let you know what these things are exactly. So this is Usagi Yojimbo, Lone Goat and Kid #1. So obviously playing off of Lone Wolf and Cub, Lone Goat and Kid. This is a color reprints from early adventures of the Ronin Rabbit. So a lot of people have been jumping on Usagi lately ever since the cartoon was announced, and they've just been doing even more with the property. Stan Sakai has been doing variants at Marvel that have been really popular. So I think it's really cool that they're releasing some colorized reprints. So here's your chance to sign up for that.
A lot of the early Usagi stuff too is out of print.
Yep.
Even if you try to get the what they call like the complete editions, the really thick ones, those don't pick up till I think like in the 20s in the Usagi series. So it's cool that they're doing some of these reprints of some of the harder ones to find. Next up we have and this is funny because now IDW is like, we're jumping on this best of train. We had the best of TMNT that's still going on. We have the best of Transformers that is continuing. Now we have Star Trek The Next Generation best of Picard #1. And why this is cool is Star Trek has actually been published by a lot of different people over the years. Even for a while it was Marvel that had the license, like the classic X-Men Star Trek team-up issues, which are probably not collected in here, but this does say this collects some stories from multiple publishers that have published Star Trek over the years. So that's really cool. That's kind of what the Transformer one and the TMNT one is doing. They get the rights for them. So a lot of those are either out of print or very hard to find. So if you want to read some early Picard stuff, this is a great way to do it.
All right, next is End After End. This is a new fantasy series from Vault Comics, and it is Vault's take on the afterlife. There are lots of different opinions and thoughts on the afterlife, and in this, it seems to be our main character has died, and he finds out that his soul is being used and waged in an existential war. So, we'll see what this one holds. That's all the info I could get after it, but it's a beautiful cover, so we will see what it's all about.
This is The Shepherd, the Valentine, #1. This is a 3-issue miniseries by Black Caravan, and I'm not familiar with Shepherd comics before. I think this is a secondary series after one that I just must have missed out on. I mean, I read a ton of comics, can't read them all though. And this one, the premise sounds interesting. So there's a girl who's escaped like a killer, and this killer tormented her, and she's all traumatized. But at the same time, she's also really angry about it. So she goes to the kids of the shepherd, and she basically tells them that she wants their help to find this guy so that she can get revenge. So I think that sounds like a pretty cool plot line. So that is the premise of Shepherd the Valentine, number 1 of 3.
Next up is Rick and Morty Heretics. I had to.
God.
I didn't realize that was the name until I
Yeah.
was looking at my notes and I'm like, why is this misspelled? Oh, because it has heretics. And this is really cool. This is actually by Amy Chu, awesome writer Amy Chu. And of course, if you can't tell from the cover, this is the Rick and Morty take on Dune. So they are traveling to an alternate dimension where Rick finds a planet that has a substance that is incredibly powerful. So he ends up taking over the world. He names it Arictus, and but he gets caught in the political and religious factions that persist on this planet. So if you like Dune and Rick and Morty, this will be great. Fun to see what kind of jokes they have at Dune's expense. But yes, this is the A cover, and then we have the Patricia variant.
Look at the tongue it's like wrapping around the Morty.
All right, next up we have Dark Red, Where Roads Lead. This is a one-shot. Tim Seeley and Corin Howell's hit Vampires in the Heartland series returns. This is a prestige format one-shot, and like Aftershock has been doing, I assume it's going to be a magazine-size one-shot. So if you're reading the previous Dark Red series, don't expect that you're just going to get this automatically. If you want it, let your store know.
All right, next up, we have a comic called All Guts, No Glory. This is going to be a 3-parter. This is from Zenescope. So it's one of those books where I like the fiction where we're all living our lives, but there's like secret things going on that we don't know about. So the premise is that there are groups of government-sponsored monster hunters who are killing monsters before the public finds out about it. Funny enough, this comic isn't quite about them, though. It's about the people who have to clean up the messes they leave. And that's what we're seeing right here. Of course, they have their own aspirations. At least one of the characters wants to become a monster hunter, but they don't really have what it takes. And I kind of like that, where you're not following the main action, you're following the sub-action
Yeah.
that somehow is even juicier and more interesting. So I think it's a pretty strong premise from Zenescope, one of the better ones I've heard in a while from them. And this is the A cover, and then here is the Riviero variant cover. So next up, we are going to show you cool covers and other comics. This is going to be issues number 2 and 3 of comics perhaps you read issue number 1 of and you need a reminder to sign up for. Otherwise, it's going to be variants of books you're already on, just in case you want to grab that particular variant.
First off, this is Alien number 9. This is the Raza variant. Super cool. You'll have to look at this one up close to really see the alien face made out of the negative space of all these aliens crawling up the walls next to him. This is still part of the kind of farm invasion storyline they've been going on in Alien, but didn't want you to miss this Raza variant for number 9.
That's a very cool variant.
Mm-hmm.
And next, we have, coming up soon, Black Panther Legends number 3. This is the Bustos variant. Super cool. I really like, looks very different, but number 3, Legends, Black Panther Legends.
All right, also available for order is Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, number 2. As Elektra has taken up the mantle of Daredevil, she has vowed to never kill again. And then, of course, what villain comes along? Kraven the Hunter, to put her to the test. Somebody who's all about killing. And, you know, it probably would have been a little easier on her if she could have killed him back, but now she's not allowed to. This is the A cover, and then we also have the Bagley variant available for order.
That was her New Year's resolution. No more killing.
Correct.
Craven's was to kill more. Next up is Shang-Chi number 8. This is the Jim Chung headshot variant. I'm really excited about the first ones of these to actually come out and see them in person, because we've just been seeing them digitally. But this is also the conclusion to Shang-Chi's family story that's been going on. So, exciting issue and a really nice cover.
All the family stuff's been really good. It's a shame it got slowed down by all the delays and everything, because I've really enjoyed it.
All right, Spider-Woman is still going strong, and this is Spider-Woman number 19, the PEREZ variant, the Devil's Reign variant.
All right, next up, we've got Star Wars Crimson Reign number 2. So this first cover we're showing you is the Anadito connecting variant. Before I show the others, I'll tell you what's going on in it. So Kira has her 2 assassins. It's Ochi of Bestoon and Destic. And she sends them after 2 separate people that she has decided have to be eliminated for her plans to continue on. So I can't believe how much Ochi is in like all the Star Wars
I know. It's almost a shame we know he ends up dead, because I'm like, I want to see him in something.
I really liked it when he showed up in Vader, because, you know, it was great because he talks so much. And that's just not how you see assassins. And so he's such a good, useful character. And I said that at the time. And it seems like all the writers are like, yeah, he's a useful
good
character to throw in there. So this is the Anadito connecting variant. Then we have the Crane Enemies of Dawn variant. And lastly, the Giordano Warriors of Dawn variant.
That's a Death Stick cover, who we saw in the first issue take the wrap off of her face, and it's not too pretty down there.
No. You wish for death than to have to keep looking at it.
Next up, we have Star Wars High Republic number 14. This is the McCone variant, and this is actually the first tie-in book with the next Star Wars High Republic novel that's coming out in just a few days, in about a week, Fallen Star. And I like how basically the novel comes out and then the comic picks up kind of where either it left off or a little bit during it. So this will be the next part of that big story with this really nice Avar Chris cover.
All right, and then the Thing series is still going strong. This is Thing number 4, the Kisara Stormbreaker variant.
All right, check out this variant for X-Men Legends number 11. This is the Lashley Classic Homage variant. How many of you out there know what this is? So, yeah, it's a New Mutants 98 variant. And, you know, the X-Men Legends have been telling tales from back in the 90s comics. It's like stuff in between the scenes. In this, it's supposed to reveal a secret link between the New Mutants and Apocalypse. So I think that's a pretty interesting premise and quite appropriate for this cover. So for all you who pick up all the New Mutant 98 homage variants, I think you should add this one to your list.
Next up is Harley Quinn number 11. This is the Derek Chew variant. Of course, Derek Chew's had a long run now. I think every issue has had a Chew variant. And this one involves a bomb on a train, and Harley... It's hard to tell because Harley writes her own solicitations,
Yes.
So it's hard to tell what's actually going on, but it involves a train.
All right, I love her hair in that issue, in that cover. All right, this is Action Comics 1039, the cover B by Tedesco.
And here is the Kale New variant for Aquaman Green Arrow Deep Target number 4. In this issue, Green Arrow and Aquaman are going to have to double their efforts against Scorpio. So
And I love this cover because that is one of my favorite Aquaman suits. It was only used in like a 5-issue miniseries that's actually, I think, considered Aquaman Volume 2 in a lot of places. But yeah, as a big Aquaman fan, I'm very happy to see the return of this costume.
Here you get it from the biggest Aquaman fan we know, honestly. So
next up is DC versus Vampires number 4. This one you got to really look at to tell who's creeping. Of course, this is the Matina variant, and in this issue, Batman figures out who is a vampire in the Justice League, but also there is a hint to who maybe is the new king of the vampires. We know the previous one was killed. That's what started all this. Now, who's in charge?
And then we have the last issue of Superman vs. Lobo. This is cover B, the Daniel Warren Johnson cover. And yeah, it's the very last issue.
All right, this is the Riley Rossimo variant for Task Force Z number 4. In this issue, they tease that, what do you know? Maybe the zombies might turn on Red Hood, who's trying to lead them. Who would have
Surely
thought
not.
that was going to happen? But yeah, that's what they sort of tease in this. This is the Rossimo variant, and then there's also this Dan Mora Peacemaker variant for that same issue.
Next up is the Tau variant for Deathstroke Inc. number 5. I've been loving this series. Great cover. Looks like they're doing a little gambling.
And then we have Robin number 10. This is the Francis Manipul cover. Looks pretty crazy, pretty cool though.
That's interesting because that sort of looks like the demon from a few, the previous issue that we thought was done for, but maybe not.
The perspective on that one is really cool.
All right, so next we have, this is Teen Titans Academy number 11, the Osio cardstock variant. And in this, the Titans must look into the complicated past of Nevermore.
Osio's artist name I see started to pop up more and more. Some really strong covers.
Mm-hmm.
And next up is a awesome looking cover for Wonder Girl number 7. This is the Tedesco variant.
And who picked up Stray Dogs number 1 this week? This is Stray Dogs number 2, Stray Dogs Dog Days number 2, after the original 5-part hit miniseries. So this is cover A. And then what horror movie homage cover do we have coming up? Let us know in the comments if you know what cover this is. We won't spoil it for you on the show. But yeah, everyone who talked to me about this book this week remarked how actually kind of tragic and sad this story was with issue number 1. And it's just a 2-part series, so this is the last issue for it.
I think I know it. Is it one of my favorite Halloween movies?
I'm fairly certain.
I think it's a maybe a anthology type film.
It's your hint.
Okay, cool. That's what I was thinking too. Okay, so this is crossover number 11. This is the regular cover. In this issue, Ellie and her teammates are getting closer and closer to whatever shadowy figure has been killing comic book writers. And at the same time, this issue also teases there's going to be a character that Robert Kirkman created who's going to appear in it. Who could it be? I'm sure it'll be Invincible or one of his most major characters, and then Spawn will show up, and everyone will fight, and then Spider-Man and Hulk, and
maybe Battle Pope. I think we saw Battle Pope in
we've seen
one
Battle
panel.
Pope in the back. That's true. So, but yeah, so there is supposed to be a Robert Kirkman character that comes to the forefront a little bit. So I'm interested. And then here is the Hickman variant to crossover number 11.
Next up is Joy Operations number 3. This is only a 5-issue miniseries. Brian Michael Bendis' first miniseries with Dark Horse, and this is the Shalvey variant.
Lots of Echo Lands to show you. Echo Lands number 6, very cool, very original, unique series, not only in the format, but in the art, and it's super cool. This is issue number 6, cover A. Have a few more to show you. This is cover B, the Francavilla variant. I agree, it's very spooky, Edward Gorey kind of.
Yeah, unfortunately, the perspective doesn't work well for our show or the way that, but these are beautiful. So just zoom in on your device you're looking
horizontally.
at. Yeah.
And then we have some Echo Lands Raw Cut editions. So this is going to be just focusing on the artwork with this. So this is the cover A, the Williams variant for number 5. Sorry, that was the A cover for number 5. This is the Echo Lands Raw Cut number 5, Foss, cover B.
All right, so this is Gunslinger Spawn number 4. This is the regular cover. In this is the return of the new and improved supervillain, the Clown. I think most people who have read Spawn ever know who I'm talking about. He has to try to turn Gunslinger Spawn over to him to be able to go up against regular Spawn. That's what it's supposed to be about. And then here is the Matina variant for Gunslinger Spawn number 4.
Had some of the best covers for that series.
With a hat so big it blocks out the sun.
His eclipse hat.
So tall. It's higher up than the sun.
40-gallon hat.
Next up is Good Boy, number 3 of 3. This is the final issue of Good Boy. This is the Francavilla variant. I've really enjoyed this series. The kind of alternate take on John Wick, but this time the dog is hunting the person that killed his human partner. So really nice Francavilla cover for this one.
And then we have Ice Cream Man. This is number 28. And this is the cover B, the Ekman Lawn variant.
It's just so disturbing, everything about it.
Yeah, there's also a really cool dictionary variant as well, so go check that out.
Okay, so this is House of Slaughter number 4. This is the regular cover. In this, Jace undergoes the ritual hunt. This has been told in 2 different time periods, sort of the past and the present. And the more present story is that Aaron is torn between his feelings for his deeply close friend and having to, try to hunt and kill him, and his duties to the House of Slaughter. It also says that Jessica Slaughter is going to make an appearance in this issue. Here is the variant to that. This is the Deladera variant.
Next up is Power Rangers Universe number 2. This was a really big hit. One, super cool covers by Dan Mora, but also Power Rangers is still super popular. We had the issue 1 cover that had all the different versions of the Red Ranger. This issue number 2 has all the Blue Rangers. So don't assume your store is going to have this one, because I believe we sold out of it on the first day. So definitely check this one out.
And then we have Radio Apocalypse number 2. It feels like it's been a while since the number 1 came out, but number 2 is here. So if you like number 1, make sure to add number 2 to your list.
I like the perspective and colors on this.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a wild circus or something. Okay, so this is the variant to Army of Darkness 1979 number 5. This is the TMNT issue number 2 homage they've been doing for all their stuff, where you see the reflection of things in it. Here's another one. This is Invincible Red Sonja number 7. This is the Todd McFarlane homage variant to Amazing Spider-Man number 316. So that's, they keep doing these variant series, and we just want everyone to know. We don't want people to miss out. I think we got some more we'll be going through shortly.
Because next we have Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. This is number 3, and this is the Besh cover. So really nice. Besh is doing so many awesome covers at Dynamite. And then we also have, it is the TMNT homage. So you can see the reflection in that gorilla's face.
Next up, we have some Dracula, Vampirella Dracula Unholy. This is issue number 2, and this is another Besh cover. We also have the Art Germ cover, and then the TMNT homage variant as well.
It was kind of cool because of the blood running down her that's making the image.
I think that might be hair. Blood or hair?
So many times I've asked that question.
Okay, so next up we're going to do other printings and graphic novels. Beginning with, this is God Killer Spider-Land number 1 second printing. So for anybody who's trying to collect all the printings of God Killer Spider-Land, or if you just missed out on it and you want to grab it, this is your chance to order it.
Next up is Hellions number 18, which I believe was the final issue of Hellions.
I believe so.
Where it is the return of the Goblin Queen. So this is the second printing. They say a second printing variant, but it's the second printing.
Another second printing. This is Star Wars Crimson Reign, the U second printing variant, and Crimson Reign did really well here. All the ratio variants sold out, so another very popular Star Wars series. Once again, this is the second printing of number 1.
So here they are compiling and collecting the official handbook of the Marvel Universe 89 update. So 89 update was the 3rd version of this. They kept updating every few years because new characters would get introduced. Like, for instance, most notably, Venom got added in to the 1989 one. This was the last time they did it, though. So these things were great. I definitely grabbed these when I was young. They came out before I actually started collecting, but I'd find them and I'd get them because this has facts, origins, bios, and my favorite, vital statistics. Nothing beats seeing the little graph line of how strong or how smart characters
And
are.
arguing with your friend who's like, I don't think that he's stronger than him, but his graph is bigger.
Yeah. So that's really fun. So they've collected the whole thing. It's $75, and this is the direct market cover. But then we have this other cover for the same price. This is the Friends Venom cover. So as you can see, Venom is on there now.
Next up is something I am going to order. This is the Art of Masters of the Universe Revelation, the hit Netflix series from creative bit by Kevin Smith. And this is going to be $49.99. It's a hardcover, 148 pages of concepts and original artwork and behind the scenes and all that good stuff from these art books for the Netflix series. I think collecting both parts 1 and part 2, so really cool. Only $49.99.
Excited to show you guys some manga in this. This is Cat Gamer Volume 1. This is $11.99 and it is available in English now here. So it is about Riko, who is a 29-year-old video game addict, and she finds an introvert. She finds a stray cat. Stray cat wanders and weasels its way into her life, and she has to take care of it, pretty much only knowing about cats through video games. So she uses her video game knowledge to take care of the stray cat, and I believe you get to see some stuff from the cat's perspective, figuring out what the heck is this human doing here. So anyway, cat manga is always extremely popular. If you like cats, if you like manga, check this out for only $12.
If you based your life off of things you learned in video games, you would never go near barrels for fear they would always explode.
The red ones especially.
Anytime you saw a ladder, you would look for, is there something that will make it drop down from the ceiling?
There wouldn't be any crates left because we all would have broken them open to see what's inside of every single crate.
There's gems inside of every pot laying around. Yep.
Okay, so here is an original graphic novel by Stephanie Phillips and Peter Cross called We Only Kill Each Other. So this is interesting because this was originally released through Comixology. It was digital only, but they realized, hey, there are people like Jason. I don't read digital only. I need the hard copy. So now they're printing them. Looky. They're printing them and they're going through us retailers. So this is 1999. The premise is pretty cool. So this is set back in, I think, the late 30s, early 40s. So World War II was going on, but the U.S. had not picked sides yet. And so in this, there's a lot of Nazi sympathizers who are springing up around the country who are trying to sway public opinion for the U.S. to join the Axis. And this was happening. I mean, it was definitely like, hey, you should join this side, which, glad we didn't.
Wow, you never hear about that.
So it's up to these Jewish American gangsters to go up against these Nazi sympathizers to try to, make it where they aren't manipulating the public. So I think it sounds pretty cool. A lot at stake. We know how it ends, but we didn't really know this end of this part of the story. So just 1999, and now you can hold it in your hands. You can read it on the beach. You can go wherever, and not have to worry about the sun glare on your little screen.
Next up is something I had never heard of, but doing more research is very interesting. So this is by Zero Calcare. That's the pen name of the creator. And his books are one of the highest selling books in Italy. Highest selling graphic novels. And this is the first time it's going to be brought to the US and translated. And this one is a autobiographical story, and the creator is known for his sense of humor, but also his depth, and especially in this one, which is about the passing of his grandmother, but the discovery of unsuspected secrets within his family. So he has a Netflix series that started, I think, back in November, based on one of his properties, but if you have never heard of him, want to try something out, it's like black and white, really interesting art, check out Zero Calcare Forget My Name.
I like the cover there.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is another manga, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, manga's refined oddball. This is a $40 hardcover, and JoJo's is basically a worldwide pop culture phenomenon. No one knows how to classify this manga, yet it has sold more than 100 million copies since 1987. So this book does behind the scenes essays, artwork, tales, just all sorts of stuff about the world of JoJo's, and trying to, I don't think it tries to explain it, but it tries to let you in on what's up with JoJo and its bizarreness. So $40 hardcover, super cool.
All right, and that is our last show of the year.
Woo.
Everybody have a happy New Year's. We're doing this here New Year's Eve. Tomorrow we'll all have to sign our checks 2022. How many months will it take till you get it right?
How
For
many
those of you who
checks
still even
I
write
was about to say,
checks.
how many checks did I even write in 2021?
Let us know if you have any New Year's resolutions. We're super curious about that. Let us know in the comments. Let us know your favorite thing you read this year. And if you missed it, Jason and Andy did a recap of 2021's most noteworthy comics. So go check that out as well. And please take a second to subscribe. And go check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Do all that stuff and have a great New Year. We'll see you next time.